Greetings, sports fans nationwide. Earlier this afternoon, a game that was supposed to be settled and played initially on Thanksgiving Day in prime time under the bright lights, national stage set, one of the greatest rivalries in the NFL. Pittsburgh Steelers versus the Baltimore Ravens. But due to the Ravens having issues with COVID-19, it finally occurred today, Wednesday afternoon, 6 days later from November 26th to December 2nd, 2020. Let it be noted in the annals of sports history, for the first time in their franchise history, the Pittsburgh Steelers are 11-0 to remain hashtag and still undefeated on the NFL landscape in a 19-14 victory over the Ravens. And we have swept them for the season. Lamar Jackson was nowhere to be found. There was a sighting of RGIII who got taken out later in the game. And of course, it was the Big Ben and Juju Smith-Schuster show as we got the victory. And Lex Anderson, top 1%er, People Sportscaster, representing the Steel City here from New York City, the waver of the terrible towel. I'm here to do what I do best, and that is to celebrate, to laud, and exalt my and your Pittsburgh Steelers and the history that was set in the dominating 1914 victory over the Baltimore Ravens. So if you sports fans nationwide are down with all things NFL, AFC, or NFC, or again, represent the Steel City, make sure that you're subscribing to the channel and press that bell icon to stay notified for any and all upcoming future videos. Because this video that I'm about to lay the hammer on right now is going to be pure fire, just the way the Pittsburgh Steelers are pure fire, more like hot, more like molten lava, because we own the National Football League. Let's go. Now, first things first, let me give credit to where credit is due. RG3, he was there for a bit, got pulled from the game. Some guy named McSorsley connected with wide receiver Marquise Brown for a 70-yard touchdown play in the fourth quarter that was the longest receiving touchdown by any NFL player on a Wednesday since 1948. But honestly, it matters not, because the Ravens suffered the loss, getting swept for the season. It's happened for the sixth time in their storied history, first time since 2017, and third time under the successful Mike Tomlin era. The Steelers have now won their last 18 games in which they had a defensive touchdown. Our last loss, Week 14, way back in 2013. The Steelers have allowed fewer than 20 points in 4 straight games. That's what I'm talking about. And what more needs to be said about our vaunted Steelers defense? We now have had 1+ sack in 68 straight games, the third longest streak since 1963 when NFL sacks became a stat. And the Steelers defense now has 61 takeaways since 2019, the most in the NFL during that span. It truly was, though, a total team effort. I will give props to the Ravens defense. They did make it close, but the Steelers had more than enough to seal the deal. Big Ben, 36 of 51, 266 yards with 1 touchdown, 1 INT. Benny Snell, 16 carries for 60 yards. Of course, those were hard-earned yards against the Ravens defense. And of course, our wide receiving core is the best in the NFL. Eric Ebron, 7 catches for 54 yards. Chase Claypool, 6 catches for 52 yards. Deontay Johnson, 8 catches for 46 yards. And Juju Smith-Schuster, as previously mentioned, 8 catches, 37 yards, but of course, a touchdown. And James Washington, only 2 catches for 19 yards, but one of them was a very critical third down that Big Ben just lofted the ball in the air. You see 2 Ravens, middle of the field, but there's James Washington, jump ball, catching it, securing the third down, total team effort, total dominance, and we are the toast of the National Football League. The Steelers going 11-0 for the first time in franchise history. Big Ben doing his thing. It's been a crazy year, a crazy season, COVID-19, coronavirus, the global pandemic, but yet we still play on. Hashtag here we go. I know people are talking shit about the Chiefs and the Steelers, and hey, with all due respect, the Kansas City Chiefs are the Super Bowl defending champions. That cannot be taken away from them until they are possibly eliminated in the playoffs. This much is true. But the reality is that the true top team in the NFL is the team that is currently undefeated, the only team in the NFL that's undefeated, 11 and 0, the Pittsburgh Steelers. And a lot of people have been complaining about how the game was for Thanksgiving, doubleheader on Monday, game on Tuesday, but there was a game this Wednesday afternoon. And at the end of the day, the reality of the matter is that we are in a different time, in a different era in all of our lives. And the NFL should be applauded for not having canceled any games. And let's also not forget, the NFL made it an option for players to play this season. Anyone that has suited up, just the way I'm wearing this official NFL jersey, being the sports fashion icon, you had an option to play or you had an option to stay home. So let's not forget, these guys are millionaires. They're getting paid to do a job, and they chose to report to the field, to the stadium, to their place of work to do their job, which they get paid very well to do. And I do thank the NFL players for making the adjustments and going out on the field and still putting forth great games and a good product. And that, sports fans nationwide, is what should be remembered first and foremost. And hey, if the NFL extends the season by a couple of weeks or increase teams' chances to make the playoffs, I'm all for it. There's talks of the NFL playoffs being hosted in a bubble. Again, we're dealing with difficult times, unforeseen circumstances and scenarios. And so far, the NFL has definitely been able to roll with the blows and make the adjustments as needed. And hey, it's football. You can find me watching that any time of the day and or night. So, with that being said, thank you very much, sports fans nationwide, for tuning in. Make sure to do the right thing. Make sure to make the commitment. Subscribe to the channel. Press that bell icon to get the notification for the next upcoming future videos. As for the end of this video, it's come to an end. I thank you very much for tuning in. Until next time, representing the Steel City from here in New York City, Lex Anderson, wearer of official NFL gear, sports fashion icon, top 1% People Sportscaster, with a wave of the terrible towel, signing out.